Hey everybody, I just wanted to be the first to let you know that we have just sold our 7.4 meter Elddis 150 Majestic motorhome, and in today's video I want to tell you why we've done that, and I also want to show you quickly around the motorhome before it goes, and I also wanted to tell you about some of the things that we liked and we didn't like. Hi, we're James and Rob, and this is our dog Oscar. It's a really steep learning curve when you start your motorhome, campervan or caravan journey, and there is lots that we wish we had known. So we decided to document what we have learned and share with you our adventures as we head out on the road again. So the main reason we have sold our Elddis 150 Majestic is just because it is too big for us. It's a 7.4 meter long motorhome, and it is 2.8 meters high, and it's just over 2 meters, 2.2 meters wide. And James didn't really like driving it, especially when we were on some of the narrower roads, which of course when you go to the beautiful parts of the UK like Scotland or Cornwall, you're always going to find yourself on narrower roads. To be honest, it was the width more than the length that caused us problems, and by the time we put our two bikes on the back of the van, it was almost 8 meters long. So we decided that we wanted something a bit smaller, so I'll tell you more about that later. Having used the motorhome for a year, one of the things that we found that suits us really well is to be able to use the motorhome as a car, something that we can get about in once we are on site. We've got electric bikes, so if we're not going too far we can use them, but we've also got an old dog. I'm sure if you've watched the videos, you know, you've met Oscar before, and whilst we put him in our rucksack, sometimes that's pretty heavy because he's about 14 kilos. So we decided that we wanted to be able to use the van as a kind of run around a bit more. And when we were in Scotland, we could do that fairly easily, and we did it a few times. If you watched any of our Scottish videos, I'll put a link up here to that series. You'll see that we did occasionally unplug the van, load it up, and then go and drive in the van for the day. But it isn't always that practical, and certainly in England it's really not practical because there are very few places that are going to allow us from a height perspective to park, and also from a length perspective to be able to park as well. So it wasn't really practical to use that, and that's what we found has really suited us. Now, some of the things that we really liked about the van, and I'm going to do a quick walkthrough in a minute, is that we really liked the fixed beds, and this was a complete total requirement for me because I'm not a very good sleeper, and so I didn't want some kind of makeshift bed where you're shifting the sofa around and converting it into a bed. We wanted a fixed bed with a really decent mattress, and the Elddis 150 Majestic that we bought had a Hypnos mattress that was really firm, but we really liked it, and it was a decent double bed, which is fine. I mean, we certainly couldn't go for anything more narrow than that because we have a super king bed here at home. The other thing that we really liked about the van, and I'll show you this in a minute, is how much internal storage there is. So lots of space to put all your knickknacks, your crockery, your tools, your sleeping stuff, and so on. So internally it was perfectly fine, but externally it really lacked a decent garage. Again, I'll show you that in a moment. But externally it really lacked a decent garage. So let me do a quick walk around of the van, externally and internally, to show you what it's like. Thought I'd do a quick walk around of our van. We put this together when we were planning to sell the van, but we actually didn't need it in the end, but more on that in a future video. But here is a quick walk around of our 7.4 meter Elddis Majestic 150. And it had many things that we liked about it, one including an external gas point, which we used all the time with our Kadak. It had a space for 2 6-kilogram Calagas bottles, which was super useful. We added on a bike rack, which we sold with the van, which was great to carry our 2 electric bikes. It was also the space for the leisure battery and external electric hookup point, and all the other usual gubbings such as the typical cassette toilet. And then as we head on inside the van, had this table that you put up, which we found really useful because it meant you could get it out of the way when you weren't eating, and then that converts into a double bed. One of the compromises we made about this van was the wet room, so the built-in shower and toilet, but it actually worked really well and it was quite spacious, and you had that shower curtain that went all the way around and some extra storage, and we added in those elastic lines to keep stuff as we traveled. One of the big attractions to this van was the fixed double bed, which pushed back and had a storage space underneath. This was the only sort of garage space in the van, so that was pretty limited, one of the drawbacks. But we really like this double bed and how it slides forward and then back to give you more space to make it really easy to walk around, to get access to the plentiful storage space. And you can see on both sides there was a wardrobe and drawers beneath it and cupboards above, and that's the one that hosts the TV aerial. So this van had tons of storage, which we really liked, and it was also really light. You can see that it's got lots of skylights and big windows, so it was always very light. And as I say, lots of storage, drawers, vanity unit beneath a mirror, and when the bed was pushed back, that provided us with lots of storage space and even more storage space here. So definitely something that we really liked. And then your typical well heating system and water system, and yeah, that's the van. And like I say, lots of light and a big spacious van, which we're definitely going to miss. Okay, now we put that video together to use as a sales video to put it in onto Auto Trader when we sold the van. But if you watch next week's video, I'll talk more about how we sold the van and how actually we didn't need that video in the end. But anyway, I've been able to use it for you guys, so I hope you found that useful. If you want to see a complete, full, detailed review, and by far our most popular video, then check out our Elddis 150 review. And again, I will put a link, not sure which side it will be on, to that particular video, so you can get a much more detailed walk around and a more detailed understanding of what we liked and what we didn't like. Talking of which, some of the things that we really like about the van: we like the internal space. You know, if you've got a big, high, wide van, then you get lots of internal space. There was lots of nice seating areas. We like the fact that that table could be put away. Although it was a bit flimsy, it did mean that when you were relaxing in the evening, you haven't got this flipping table in your way. So that was actually a good thing. We also like the fixed bed, as I've said, the internal storage. One of the compromises that we made was the wet room, so the shower and the toilet and the bathroom all in one. And that suited us perfectly fine. If that would be a compromise that I would make again. When you drew the shower curtain around the shower, it meant nothing else got wet. It was easy to clean. And considering you only really use that shower in the morning and to go to the loo, that space, it's fine that it's a small space. Of course, it would be great to have a separate toilet and a separate shower, but that was something we were willing to compromise on, and that was a good compromise. We bought a manual. We wish we had bought an automatic, but you know, beggars couldn't be choosers. As you know, there's massive shortage of vans at the moment, so we took a manual. But I think having an automatic would make driving so much easier. And again, I think James would be more confident with an automatic, and you'll see in our future plans how that fits in. So some of the things that we didn't like about the van, well, the lack of garage space. When we bought the van originally, we thought we'd be able to fit our bikes underneath the bed. And there's enough space there, but there wasn't enough depth to fit the bikes in, so we had to get a bike rack and put them on the back. And the reality was that if you didn't want to damage all of the exposed electrics and pipes and stuff under the bed, that you could fit your chairs, your camping table, and you know, a few other odds and sods in there, but not much more than that. Another massive thing that I know a lot of people have talked about with Elddis vans is that the grey water tap is this tiny narrow tap, and if you are emptying your grey tank over a grate as you're leaving the site, then you're going to be sitting there for probably literally 20-30 minutes. So we solved this problem by buying a Wastemaster, which I think is one of the best things that we have bought. And when we listed our top 15 items, that definitely made the top 5. And so we basically just put that under the van, left the grey water tap open all the time, and then emptied it once every couple of days. And that meant that we weren't waiting for, you know, 20-30 minutes for the tank to empty. Now I know a lot of people have actually changed that tap and put a much wider bore tap on there, so that's certainly something that you can do, and that seems quite an easy thing to do, but it was a bit of a pain for us. As I said, we didn't really like the length and the width, and that's why we're changing the van. And you know, there's just a general lack of parking spaces, as you know, especially in England. It just seems like nobody wants any kind of motorhome or camper van in their car park or in their area, which is really short-sighted, because obviously we're going to go and spend money in the local town that we're in. Whereas when we're in Scotland, that was so much easier. So that's something that we didn't like. I'm not sure you can overcome that. That's not the van's fault, but hey, it is a motivation to get something a bit smaller. Now, I've read lots of horror stories about when people have bought new vans and all the problems that they've had with damp and with leaks, etc. But we've been really lucky with this van. We've only had 2 issues, which we reported to Marquis in Eastbourne pretty much when we got the van, and a year later they still haven't solved it. So if they were major issues, that would be really, really poor, and I guess I'd be hassling them about it. But the 2 issues we had was that the aerial socket was broken when we got the van. We didn't notice that at the time, and also that one of the pieces of wood, sort of decorative wood near the bathroom was coming away. But in the end we fixed both of those things ourselves. To change the aerial is really simple and really cheap, and there's a few YouTube videos showing you how to do that, and we just got some glue and fixed it ourselves because we weren't going to wait for Marquis to sort it out. So the warranty, if you've got major problems, getting it fixed seems to be a real problem at the moment. There's just, you know, not enough workshops to fix the stuff, and the waiting times are obviously crazy. Like I said, we reported our issue a year ago and they still haven't come back to us with any fix, and their excuse has been we're waiting for the parts from Elddis. Well, I mean, come on guys, it's a piece of wood and an aerial socket that you can buy in, you know, B&Q or anywhere else. But as I said, we've been really lucky that that has been the only problem that we had with the van, so we're passing it on to our new owners in great condition. So of course, if you're watching this video, you're probably thinking, okay Rob, what are you doing? Well, we looked around last year when we decided that we wanted to sell the van and replace it with something smaller. First of all, we decided we wanted a camper van because I feel like they are better built in an all-in-one piece, and of course they are much more compact. And we looked at various vans and various configurations, and we wanted a fixed bed still for all the reasons I said about buying the Elddis. So we didn't want something like an auto sleeper Warwick XL, which I've seen inside of on one of the trips we went on. We had a look nosy in someone else's. It looked really, really nice, but we didn't want to have those 2 benches at the back that we need to convert into beds, because again, we wanted something that was fixed. We also wanted something that was going to really maximize the space, and we've seen quite a few negative reviews about in campers where you've got the sink and the hob as one all built-in unit and you get leaks from the taps into the hob. We really like the Adria, but there was a massive waiting list, and we also felt it felt really small inside, but we really like the interiors where they're very contemporary with sort of greys and whites. So in the end we decided on a Rapido, which is a French brand, and we looked around, and of course there was absolutely nothing available, but we ended up talking to Working in Motorhomes, and they actually had a Dreamer Campervan XL, which is the same brand as Rapido, it's just slightly different. And the interesting thing about the Dreamer Campervan XL, which is a 6.4 metre van, is it's actually for 4 people, so it has a double bed at the back, but it also has a drop down bed at the front. So that's the van that we've settled on. And I'm going to tell you much more about that in a couple of videos time. I'm going to do a full review of the Rapido or the Dreamer Campervan XL, so you'll understand why we bought that or why we went for it. And I'm also going to talk about some of the challenges we've had. So we placed an order for that van last October, and I'll tell you more about that in a future video. So that's it. So that's what's happened. That's taken you up to date. We are currently, if I'm honest with you, vanless, and that's because we sold our motorhome really quickly. And in next week's video, I'm going to tell you exactly how we sold it. And if you're thinking of selling yours, I want to talk about some of the do's and don'ts and how you can make that sell really simple and really easy, which it turned out to be for us. So we ended up selling it much earlier, which means we are motorhomeless at the moment. But again, I'll tell you more about that next week, and then I'm going to do a full review of the Dreamer Campervan XL that we have purchased. So I hope you found that useful. If you've got any questions, please do leave a comment, and of course if you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and make sure you've hit the subscribe and clicked on the bell so you are alerted as soon as we have a new video. We have some really exciting content, including a weekend away in Oxford, more about our decisions that we're making, and some more van reviews coming up, so make sure you have hit subscribe. But other than that, have a great week, and we will see you next Sunday as we head out on the road again.